my listeners to know, where did you come from, man?
Small town, about 25 minutes away, Kerman, California. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Kerman.
Yesterday, I love teaching. I love history. You could throw a date at me and I could tell you what happened around that day.
Dope.
But honestly, it's not about that. It's about the student relationship.
Through this show, we strive to create a world where young individuals feel empowered to express themselves, where educators and students become partners in shaping the future, and where parents and young adults build bridges of understanding that span of generations. We aim to create a society where everyone's voice is heard, valued, and respected. Welcome to Coach's Corner.
What's up? We on that Coach's Corner, and this is your host, Coach Cordell. You know how we do. I got another special guest. I got another teacher on here. My boy, Cody, but y'all know him as Mr. Rodriguez. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Hey, good, man.
Good to see you. Happy to be here.
Hey, thank you for coming on the show, man. I just want to give a background who you are. I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in there and speak to your classroom when I was first starting out, and you see where we at now. You know what I'm saying? And you open them doors for me. You trust me enough to go in there and speak to your class. So I want to say thank you for that, man.
Always, when my boys come up to me and ask me from last year's class, when's Coach Cordell going to come back? You definitely made a lasting impact, man.
Man, that's dope, man. That's dope. So before we even get into the teacher, I want to know you. I want your students to know you. I want my listeners to know, where did you come from, man?
Small town, about 25 minutes away, Kerman, California. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Kerman.
Yesterday, they actually won their football game. They're actually going to Valley.
Ooh.
The first time in history or something like that. So happy to be from Kerman. Go Lions. But yeah, I'm from Kerman, California, man. I went to Kerman Middle School, Kerman High School, went to Fresno State, got my credential there, got my master's last year. So
wow, man,
it's been a long journey.
Straight Kerman. Shout out to Kerman. Shout out to Kerman.
Exactly.
Hey, so let's go with just as you growing up, man. Any difficult times that you went through? I like to go there, and then where you at now?
Yeah, man. Honestly, when I was younger, I didn't see as much as a struggle because I didn't really understand what was going on at the time, but definitely came from a place in which struggled financially, I know there's this one time where I know it's very embarrassing to admit, but I'm happy to explain where I am at now, but I remember there's times where we didn't even have electricity, where we would have that camping trip in the backyard, type thing, just to make it fun and whatnot. But it was definitely a struggle. But growing up, it was hard. I was very involved in school to ignore all the problems that I did face at home. When high school, unfortunately, parents divorced due to domestic violence. So I saw a lot of stuff growing up, but school was definitely where it was at. I was involved, whether it was drama club, whether it was, school council, and then I'm also a hip hop teacher.
Oh, no.
So all of this combined was definitely something that I could rely on and use as a, use to ignore and forget about some of the things that were going on at home as well. So.
Got you. So school was like an outlet for you then?
Oh, definitely, man. And I was always the class clown too. I'm the biggest. I know when at school, I have class clowns in my class. I'm like, I already know these tricks. I was voted class clown all 4 years in high school. So I definitely used humor as well to get through some of those obstacles, I faced, growing up. So.
Wow. So you kind of, I grew up the same way as watching that abuse in my household. So kind of just, I know a lot of people are seeing that now, or are going through that now. There's a lot of kids that's going through that now, man. And I kind of want to not ignore that part of it. Kind of want to just, how did that make you feel as that boy growing up where you couldn't stand up for what was going on? How did that make you feel?
Sometimes you feel helpless and you don't want to you do feel helpless and you feel like you don't want to be another statistic because you hear these stories, watch movies, and you're like, dang, man, like, I don't want that to be me, but then it was me, you know? So it was definitely, hard in the sense that you feel helpless, but in the sense that school was kind of like my leeway to get out of that situation too, you know? So I use school as something that could be a ticket to, I guess it sounds cheesy, but ticket to freedom type thing too, you know, to that I never want to be in that situation again. And it definitely felt helpless, especially with having a little brother as well, that was 8 years old. And I felt like since I was going through so much with myself too, it was hard to be there for him too. So I tried to as much as I can. So my mom was definitely a single mom. You know, after, you know, the incident, after there was like a climax of the incident, you know, she busted her butt to, you know, still provide a Christmas for us, still provide, you know, a lot of these core memories for us as a teenager and growing up. So definitely send all the praise to her.
Got you, man. So you was that class clown, man.
Oh,
so,
dude.
Remind me of myself, bro.
Oh,
like, it's crazy that we got a lot of connections. And I felt like I was that class clown because I was covering up the hurt.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to make people laugh. I wanted to be that person where everybody wanted to just be around.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that at the house.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to you and using that, was it ever like a turn off switch for you where it was almost like you're tired of being that person that making people laugh, or just almost, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess it's more obvious when I'm angry because I'm always the happy guy. It's just in my family too. I get my humor from my grandpa, you know, rest in peace. But he, you know, I use a lot of humor to get through a lot of the issues that I was faced with. But I don't think it was ever a time that I got tired of being, you know, the funny guy or anything, because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But it is more obvious when I am angry because I'm really not that funny guy anymore, you know? So there has been times where it's been obvious where someone's asked me if I was all right or anything like that just because I'm not, you know, myself. And there has been times like that,
Gotcha.
you know, now and then back then too, you know, so.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
So you got into, how was that? What was the hardest time for you when it comes to schooling, right? What age and what period in your life was that difficult time for you?
College. Oh, dude, freshman year, you know, it's like living in a small town, you know, it's that small town mentality, small farming town. And then going to high school and then hearing about, you know, all the parties and you know, going to party, you know, so I kind of fell off the boat my freshman year and I had to actually retake some classes my sophomore year. So I try to tell my students, you know, like you're on your own, man, in college, you know. It's you either use it for the good or you use it kind of for the bad, you know, like me too, you know.
Yeah.
I had more freedom in my life and I kind of messed up that first year of college, but then I got right back on track.
What made you want to go to college?
I wanted to break statistics, man. I don't mean to sound all high and mighty. Speak using what I went through as my fuel. You know, my grandparents, they started work when they were 13 because they had to. Came from, you know, Texas here to work. Even lived by like a river, and, you know, in a makeshift house. They, you know, had 5 kids. You know, so I was like, I want to break statistics, man, and I did that. You know, I got my history degree.
Wow.
You know, so I've always enjoyed history.
Yeah.
And it's I actually loved history since I was in 8th grade U.S. history, because I had a drill sergeant as a teacher. Shout out to Mr. Pointer. But you know, he was hard on me, hard on me, and then it was a full circle moment now that I am an 8th grade U.S. history teacher.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy,
you know,
man.
So it's kind of karma too, you know, because I was the class clown.
And then it comes right back to you.
When I get kind of, you know, some of those kids that aren't, use our energy sometimes not for the best.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, yeah, it's karma. It's definitely karma, man.
Man. So what made you, let's go to what made you become a teacher?
You know, it sounds cheesy, but teachers were unknowingly there for me, and they didn't know, especially in high school. You know, relying on them, you know, and I didn't really share a lot of the stuff that I was going through with my teachers too, but just having there and knowing that there was people that I could talk to if I wanted to, and trusting adults as well, because I felt like I didn't have a great foundation at home with adults and a lot of toxic stuff going on, that I felt that was my safe place.
Gotcha.
So a lot of those teachers, I wanted to be that person for students that I have today, you know, and being there for them as well, you know, because I needed someone, you know, when I was their age as well. So.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I as you speaking, man, something popped up in my head.
Yeah.
Did you have a Did you have an outlet? Like you said that you had, if you wanted to talk to him, right? That what you was going through, nobody knew what you was going through, but if you had that, you had a person to talk to. How did you operate that inside? Are you still like that now? That's very guarded, not really tell people what's going on.
You know, it's hard because I'm a very guarded person. But recently, these past couple of years, I felt that I've showed more of a shell and been more vulnerable, just because of different situations that I've been in recently in the past couple of years. I feel more so now. I have more of a foundation, especially with my friends who are teachers as well. You know, we all started together. Kind of like Grey's Anatomy. You know? It's like the class, you know, and it's like that's my core group. I know that I have a group that I can go to now. Because you know what, teachers aren't robots. We're all human, right? We're all going through something at home and then having this additional stress. But I do feel that I have more people now in my life than I did back then. But I still had someone that I could talk to if I wanted to, except I was closed off more in high school than I am now.
So why you think that closed off, like as a I don't know if it's we're very like, I don't want to tell people what's going on. Like, where did that come from you?
I feel like because it's hard to be, I felt that like my dad was hard on me as far as showing emotions and as far as being vulnerable, and if you cry and if you know, you're just a little blank, right? You know? And so it was definitely hard to show emotions growing up because I would be scolded for it, you know? So it was definitely hard to have my heart on my sleeve, you know? And I feel like in today's society, I feel like it has allowed me to be more open, you know, and show those feelings, because I have to show students that, you know, you can't hold that in, because it can, if you hold all that emotion in, it can be hard. It could be, and it takes a toll on you too, you know, especially growing up in today's society. Being a teenager in today's society, I feel like it's way harder than back then, especially with all these social media apps and all of that mess, you know, and I'm seeing it day by day with how hard it is to be a teenager now.
Like, what's crazy, you just said that, because I was having a conversation, I think with Renee and Mario. Yeah. And Mario brought it up. He was like, you know what, as a Hispanic man, we don't get great job. We don't get, I'm proud of you. And because they think that we won't be humble anymore, so they don't want to tell us that. And you just said that, it's crazy to me that you guys grow up never hearing "I'm proud of you" from your father or any male figure in the Hispanic in the culture. So is that true? That's true.
Yeah, but me and my dad have a better relationship now because we worked on it, right? You have to work through things. But yes, I agree. Growing up, it was definitely hard with feeling that validation that you're doing good, you know? And I was a good kid. I did keep my grades up. You know, there was times where I would get in trouble because I was a class clown, but I wish I had more of that validation growing up as well.
Got you.
But I kind of use that as fuel too. That, you know what, I'm gonna do this on my own.
Didn't seem like
I'm gonna get my degree, you know, and all these kind of broken promises. I was like, you know what, I want to do that on my own. I did have help. In high school too, I did lean on, my stepdad as well. My stepdad was there for me as well, provided a lot of things for me to help mold, the man I am today.
Got you.
So.
Got you, man. So you became that teacher because you wanted to kind of get that same feeling that you got that these kids need now, man.
Exactly. And honestly, it's not even, I love teaching. I love history. You could throw a date at me and I could tell you what happened around that day. But honestly, it's not about that. It's about the student relationships. Like, I'm at a tough school.
Yeah.
I am at a tough school, and I wouldn't be able to be at that school without the student relationships and constantly finding out my why at that school, So it's definitely a tough job, but it does go back to creating that student-teacher relationship and being there for the students.
Got you.
Yeah.
So how long you been a teacher for?
It went about 6.5 years now. So I'm going 7,
man.
So it's funny because I did my student teaching at a high school. So Singer High, Fresno High. And then when I got hired at middle school, dude, it's a whole new, world out there, So first year of teaching definitely humbles you. Definitely humbles you real quick.
Yeah.
You have to have thick skin, but be on your toes, so.
I see your classroom was dope, man. And it seemed like you care. As a couple classrooms I've been to, and I feel like they just there just to be there.
Yeah.
But your classroom, that you care, man. And so I applaud you for that. And they actually need that. So when it comes to like you said, middle school is a hard time.
Yes.
You see it every single day.
Yeah.
Outside looking in, inside looking out, right? What are you seeing the most where they're missing? What do you think these kids are missing?
As in like social emotional?
Yeah,
or?
like what we deal with. You got the social media, you got the fighting, you got like
the thing that I like about my school is, because I'm going to answer that right now. So the thing I like about my school is that we do have a period in which we have social emotional lessons, but what I would like more of is the digital citizenship, because social media, people are just posting, kids are just posting
whatever,
and then worrying about the consequences later. And I'm just seeing a lot of like the drama unfolding on social media. So it's definitely something that needs to be nipped in the butt, because your son was talking about bullying.
Yeah.
I don't see so much within person, but it's mainly online now. Mainly online, and it's definitely a troubling thing right now. Another thing that I feel we're missing is just getting to know your students. Your students are going to move mountains for you if you just get to know them.
Yeah.
Ask about their day. It's hard because it's 150 students.
Right,
and it's you can't get to every single one, but definitely it's getting to know your students and knowing where they come from. Even doing home visits, because even doing I know that sounds like taboo and all that, but even doing home visits, knowing where they come from, knowing that some of these kids are coming from a low socioeconomic life and just hard, man, and then they have to come and then wanting to learn about 6 different, core classes. And it's just like, if I was them, I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't care what happened during 1776 in Boston.
Right,
I don't
right.
care about, A squared plus B squared. So it's definitely getting to know the students first before actually teaching them. And I feel like back in the day, it was more memorization, just schoolwork. And I felt like I didn't have, I'm going to sound contradicting, because I felt like there was some teachers that cared and asked. So basically what I'm trying to say is there was teachers that, the ones that I remember the most are the teachers that asked about my day, cared about, my day, rather than the ones that just treated it as a job. Because you could teach just to teach.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But there's so much more layers to teaching. So
Wow, man. See, I like how you just said that, man. Connected. My son said the same thing, right? He said, I wish they connected with with the students more instead of just coming to work and leaving.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think that's where it comes there, where the students give you more respect too.
Exactly.
Like they wanna, like, oh, he care about me.
Yeah. Like my class, I'm not strict. I'm not strict. Like there's some that, but that's just not me. But I feel like my strong point was getting to know the students at first and being there in a social emotional way. And then that's how they were able to, majority of them, respect me and be able to go in that class and know that it's a positive environment. That everyone's accepted in that class.
I like it. So 6.5 years of teaching, what have you learned for yourself? What have you learned, like, oh my God, I didn't know this about myself?
Patience, man. I'm not a patient person, and I'm like, there's some students where I'm like, oh, dear God, bring the, there's about to be an exorcism, but it's just patience, because in the end, there's gonna be that student that's gonna give you a hard time every single day. And then my first year of teaching, there was this student that gave me a problem every single day, cussed me out, every single day. And then the last day of school, she said, "Thank you for not giving up on me." And I'm like, you know what? That made it all okay, just because I'm like, you know what? I'll be that person that you're angry at. I'll be that, person, as long as you're able to learn from it, you're able to grow from it, and you're able to realize now some of the mistakes that you have made.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's patience. Patience has been my number one thing.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I love to ask teachers this. Have you ever had a student come back to you, like she just did, right? And it was like, man, I never knew this person cared or listened or anything.
It's funny because usually the kids that you're like, you check like, and every teacher does this, so I'm just putting it out there. You check their attendance to see if they're there, if they're there that day, and then like you have that sign of release if they're not. However, those are the students that come back and miss the class. It's crazy, man. You see, those are the students that you keep seeing that come by and visit, and it's definitely a heartwarming experience,
Wow.
and it's, yeah.
That's because a lot of, I learned that just being a speaker now, that everybody got a different listening mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Like some people can have their head down, you think they're not paying attention, but they're honestly paying attention. And it got to me because I'm like, we're used to, oh, you got to look up straight up, you know what I'm saying? That type of mentality, but right now, like everybody got their own, so it's dope that you see that, like, you know what I'm saying? So
it's, everyone has their own story, so it's, we're human too. Sometimes we're like, get to work, and getting angry, but at the same time, you have to take a step back and talk on one-on-one. I've had many times where I've just been angry at this student, and I'm like, dang it, I want to kick the student out of my class. And then the day before, their dad just got locked up. So it's like, there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
They still made it to school. They still made it on time. They're still in your classroom. If they had their head down, I'm not saying that's always acceptable.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to, like I said, take a look at the bigger picture and show empathy as well.
And that shows that you care, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it has to be genuine too. It can't just be no fake, because those kids
they gonna
sniff it out. That teacher fake.
They can sniff that out quick, man. Yeah,
exactly.
Especially that age. What made you get into that age? What made you want to teach in middle school?
I I wanted to teach high school because I just heard stories about middle school.
Yeah.
And that the vice principal called me one day. He's like, "Hey, I have an open position. It's you and somebody else. And I was having a hard time because high school's history, it's hard to fill. Those teachers just stay in there.
Yeah, forever.
Career forever,
Yeah.
and I'll probably be that old teacher in high school eventually, forever. But I went to that school and something just felt different. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this job. I'm not gonna leave here without not getting this job. And sure enough, I got hired. And yeah, it was definitely different because I didn't have any experience in a middle school. I just remember middle school when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, if you try to teach me, oh, heck no, when I was 14. But I love it now, man.
That's dope,
The
man.
first couple of years, it's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still hard till this,
still
till this
coming
day,
in
but
every-
you build a foundation, kind of like start adding the meat to the skeleton and know how to react to different situations. I guess that's any job with more experience,
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a humbling and rewarding experience.
Man.
Yeah.
So what's your outlet as a teacher, right? Like we're human. We go through things.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're going through something, how do you deal with it in a classroom setting?
So going through something and then bringing that out.
You have to come to work, right?
Yeah, honestly, venting with my friends who all got hired at the same time. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, so in a classroom. So knowing something just happened, just like you said, the little boy dad got locked up, and you have to come to school, right? Still having that on your mind, how do
you just be there for them, whether it's writing positive notes, whether it's meeting on your prep with them, showing one-on-one how you doing, checking in that they're okay, and if they're doing better, then that means I could feel a little better too. You know what I mean? Because they're handling that situation with grace, or they are doing better. It's because I don't have kids. Those are like my kids,
Yeah.
So it's good to see that how they are responding to real life obstacles that they're facing. I'm like, if they could go through that at that age, I think stuff that's thrown at me, I think, I'm like, what, I can get through it too. So.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
Man,
it's tough, man. It's
right,
tough.
I already know, man. Like I told you the stories I've heard, and I'll be like, how are they making it, bro? It's...
And they know when you're down too. Fortunately, these past couple months, I had 2 dogs pass away. You know what I mean? Back to back, 13 and 12 years, just 2 months. And I was down one day, and a student came up to me and said, "Rodrigo, are you okay?" So they know too. And it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's coming from a big Hispanic community too. You know what I mean? It's showing that these young Hispanic students too are being more vulnerable with their students, because there is this thing called machismo, and like we were saying earlier, how it's hard to show your emotion, and a lot of these kids are finding it more comfortable to show their emotion and being able to share some of the stuff that they are facing, whether it's at school, whether it's at home. So
man, that's dope. That you guys you got that community in your classroom, and man, just. I actually love what you do, man. So definitely keep.
I love it too. So teaching U.S. history, and then I was like, you know what? I need a change. I need something. That happens with teachers every couple of years. We're like, we need something. So 2 years ago, I took on Men's Alliance. So those that don't know what Men's Alliance is, it's basically a mixture of kids. Whether some boys that have academic issues or behavior issues, and there's a mixture of kids that excel in school. So what we do is put them all together, and then what we do is we do a lot of leadership group activities, bringing guest speakers like yourself, and showing life skills too. Like just about a month and a half ago, I taught them how to tie a tie. None of them knew how to tie a tie before,
dope,
and
man.
I was like, it was pretty cool, man. They liked it. It was pretty cool. So that has definitely been hard. You've seen the group. I teach you. It can be tough sometimes, but it's definitely rewarding. I have a lot of my Men's Alliance last year from my 7th grade come back and want to be back in that class, or come and be guest helpers or coaches. And but I do ask them, who was their favorite guest speaker, and they always say Coach Cardell.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's love, man. I actually have fun with them boys, man. Just to chop it up with them, man. Yeah, a lot of athletes in there.
A lot of athletes.
Yeah.
They're goofy, but I love them.
Man, so I like to ask this question, man.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to go back to talk to your younger self, what would you say to that kid?
Be more open. Be more open with your feelings, and also it's going to be hard. There's going to be obstacles, but at the same time, you are going to have a great foundation to fall back on. You know, it's only temporary. It's not something that's going to be permanent. Permanent? See, I'm a teacher. Can't even say permanent. Yeah, and you're going to get through it just fine.
That's dope, man.
You know, so, you know, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was little.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been patient.
Yeah, you got to. You got to.
You know, it's you know, I'm like, if I could get through being a Cowboys fan, then I guess I could get through anything, because,
right.
you know, I'm used to, you know, having high hopes and then it being disappointed. So hopefully not this year. We'll see. But that's another story.
That's super dope, man. And I'm switching this one up. I want to tell you to give something like an inspirational or a message to a teacher.
To a teacher, any teacher?
So any teacher. So a teacher that's watching this, they're going to get inspired by it. Or a teacher that want to be, or a student that want to be a teacher. Like, I want you to give a message to them.
I'm like,
this camera.
I'm on this camera right here?
Yep.
It's just to know your why. You're going to be constantly reminded there's going to be tough days. There's going to be days where you're like, teaching's not for me. You're going to feel burnt out, especially that October spooky month, you know, March, those longer months. You are going to be burnt out, but find your work family, and you know your why. You're going to be constantly reminded of your why as well. If you know your why, then you should be good.
Man, that's...
You know, and if you don't know your why, that's okay, because by the end of the year, I guarantee you are going to know your why.
Y'all heard it first, man.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez, Cody, man, thank you for coming on my show,
it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
I appreciate you for doing what you're doing and just being there for me from the beginning, bro.
Always. I'm always here to support anything I can do.
Man, love it, man.
I got you.
Thank you, bro. Hey,
yes.
That's a wrap for Coach's Corner. It's Coach Cordell. Let's go. Cool,
all right.
Man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Welcome to Coach's Corner, a platform dedicated to giving students and young adults